So this is product. It looks very similar to viaduct, and in many ways it is, but some of the biggest differences are on concrete over here. There's a little connector to the other team's concrete. The rocks are symmetrical on cliff, and China is more closed in. So in terms of callouts, you have main, you have valley, you have pocket, you have dog bread. There's just a little dog bread behind it. You have concrete over there, and as I said before, connector. You got boxes, you got rocks, and then you have Japan, it's the little one, and China, it's the big one. You got cliff up here, below cliff and below China is valley. You have porch here. You also have right here, this is pixel. This is a sniper sightline, is why it's a callout. And then over here is grass. And this building is house. For rollouts, you're going to want to make sure your demo gets buffed as soon as the round starts. Your demo is going to jump once to the door, careful not to get stuck on the top. Going to jump again to over here, and then you have two options. You can either jump once more over Japan and onto the point, or you can walk left to valley, charge a sticky as you walk up, and then shoot it towards their main. I'll explain which rollout you would choose later in the review. For other classes, your rollout is going to look something like this. You're going to start off by crouching to make it easier for your medic to heal your demo. And then once you can move, you're going to start walking along this middle through the first main. And then if you're a flank class, like soldier or potentially heavy, you're going to walk over to concrete, splitting off. You want to split off at main rather than initially, so that you can get buffs before you go onto concrete. Then the rest of your classes are going to be walking through main, except possibly your sniper who can roll out to any particular sightline that they want to roll out to. So for medic on rollout, there's a bit more to it than simply walking to the point. As mentioned previously, you want to make sure to buff your demo as soon as the round starts. They'll jump, buff them as much as you can again to 260, or as close to it as possible, and then you're walking out, you're beaming your scout here so that you're a little bit faster. And then around here, you're looking to crit heal as many players as you can. So you want to try to get your heavy, your soldier, and your sniper, if your sniper is with you. So you want to get, you're going to probably be a little behind you, get your heavy, get your soldier. They're going to split off onto concrete, and then you're buffing like your pyro or whoever before you get onto mid-fight, so that as many of your players as possible have a nice big buff. And as soldier, make sure to whip your heavy. Once your team has rolled out onto the point, it becomes what we call the mid-fight, which is the fight over the point here. So generally, demos are going to be the first one in. They're looking to try to walk off chokes and get damage on the other team as they walk in. One big thing you want to avoid as demo is dying early on mid. So especially if you do that fast rollout over Japan, you're going to be getting walked at and shot by their demo and potentially their scout early, and you can be alone and die pretty easily. So if you find that that's happening, that you're dying too early when you roll out over Japan, that's when you would switch to using the slower rollout through Valley. But if you're finding you're getting in fast and living, it's fine to keep going over Japan. As for other classes, as you start to filter in, your demo is probably going to need an arrow immediately for your medic, from your medic. Classes like your pyro are looking to deny spam and also to deny any fast bombs from their team soldier. Inversely, your soldier can be looking to fast bomb into their demo. Fast bomb just means, in this case, that you're going as soon as you get there. The rest of your team is waiting for some sort of opportunity to get forward and walk into the other team. So what that would look like is your demo could be calling that they're getting good damage. Your soldier could call that they're bombing the other team. Or someone could just call that the other team is being really passive and they're really far back. Regardless of why you're walking forward, it will generally be up to your main caller, who is usually going to be your demo, to call that you want to walk forward. Once that is called, you want the majority of your team to walk forward. As demo, you want to avoid being in front. It is difficult to do, especially when you're main calling, because you'll be the first one to react to your own calls. But you want to wait a second, wait for your team to get in front of you, so that you can sit back and spam at a distance. For the rest of your team, get forward when it is called by whoever is your main caller, and shoot the other team. Another important thing you can be doing during this time is calling focuses. So if you get good damage on someone, you can call damage on them, like heavy took 200, or you can just say shoot heavy. You can also just call focuses on any individual players who get too far forward. Like if their heavy gets to that point, one of your players can say, hey, everybody shoot heavy. So a sniper on mid-fight generally is looking to roll out into a sightline and control that sightline. You can also, from that sightline, be looking to take the sniper v sniper duel with the other team's sniper. If you can kill their sniper, it allows your team to walk forward and not have to worry about being in the open. For your flank, you're just looking to control connector, this little area here. Make sure nobody can get through here for free. Kill anyone who does try to sneak through here. If you can get good damage on their flank, or if their flank is not controlling this for whatever reason, on mid-fights it's perfectly fine to just walk through here, take this space, call that you're getting forward so that your team can get forward with you. And having this little bit of space makes it very hard for them to live behind rock and can just win you the mid-fight. If your team lost the mid-fight, most of your team is going to end up back in your spawn. If your med died during the mid-fight and the other team's med lived, that means the other team's med is likely to have Uber, and so you're going to want to run a sack wave so that you're not pushing into the other team's med when they have, and you don't. So what that's going to look like is you're going to come up either onto cliff or behind house. I prefer to default behind house. And then once you have all of your players grouped up behind house, you have your spy hopefully behind. Your spy can call where their med is, and then you'll give it countdown or use the round timer at the top of your screen and say we're sacking at 35 seconds on the timer, or say we're sacking in 3, 2, 1. You'll all bomb into where the med is. You'll try to get damage on the med. Everybody's just shooting the med here, and you want to sack 7 out of 9 of your players. You leave somebody like your pyro or possibly your heavy with your med, and the pyro can build Uber with the detonator. The heavy can build Uber with the fist of steel. But either way, you want to leave someone with the med who can protect them and who can help them build Uber. Everybody else is dying for the other team's med. If you lost the mid fight, but either both meds died or both meds lived, you're going to be looking to take some sort of fight. If both meds died, it'll be a dry fight, meaning without Ubers. If both meds lived, it'll be an exchange, meaning both teams are going to use Ubers. Regardless, the setup is fairly similar. You're going to make sure most of your team is alive. You're going to start coming out, grouping up behind house. Don't walk in yet. Make sure all of your players are in position before you go. Buff your players like your heavy and your demo and your sniper that need the buffs the most. And then you're going to decide to walk either valley or main. And if you roll out cliff, you can also walk off of cliff. But again, I prefer rolling up behind house because it gives you options to go both ways. If they're holding really forward in your valley, it can be a good idea to go main. If they're holding passive behind rock, or even just a little bit more passive on dog grid or on point, it's better to go valley. In general, you want to go valley unless there's something that makes it good to go main, such as their demo being dead, their sniper hard watching valley and your sniper's dead, or they're really forward in your valley. Regardless of where you're pushing, you're going to want your sniper peeking it at the same time, so that their sniper doesn't have free range. You just kill all of your players walking out in the open. You're going to want to have somebody in front of your demo, somebody like your scout in front of your demo as you walk forward. If this is an exchange, only your demo and scout want to walk in, or demo and pyro if it's a demo pyro Uber. Everybody else stays out of the Uber. If it's a dry fight, everybody else can come in. And then you're just kind of walking in. Once you get to this point, it is just kind of a repeat of the mid-fight. With one key difference being that you can get some cap time in order to pressure the other team and force them to fight you. If your team won the mid-fight, you cap the point the other team left. Then you get to worry about holding the point. So in general, on product, you want to be aggressive with your holds. You don't want to be like trying to spawn camp them or anything, but you don't want to hold the point from behind the point. It makes it really easy for the other team to bully you out and cap the point. They can stand on the point with high ground as they shoot you in this one tiny bit of cover. So in general, try to hold as forward as you can. What that means, most of the times you're holding either on dog grid over here or on the point over here. What this looks like is your med is just kind of chilling back here. Be wary of this sightline through here. As medic, you want to make sure you're avoiding this. So you want to play a little bit further back to avoid that. And then you have to just make sure you have eyes on China from your spy or whoever to make sure their sniper can't peek you from there. If their sniper is called on porch, you can also rotate a little bit deeper into the corner, but just be aware that makes you peek the other sideline. So you just have to keep an eye out where their sniper is and kind of wiggle to avoid him. Your demo is playing more forward, looking to lock off Valley here. Shoot them as they walk through the choke, not after they've walked through the choke. Same thing for main, shoot them as they walk through the choke, not after they've walked through the choke. Make it really hard for them to get in the first place. As they're walking in, if you call where they're walking, you can have other players collapse on them. So like your scout who should be with you can walk forward and start shooting them with you. So again, a scout, careful of getting too forward, getting disconnected and dying like over here. Players like your soldier can bomb into them. So as they're walking through the choke, you can say, hey, they're walking valley, hey, they're walking valley. To your soldier, that means that they can bomb into them and help you collapse on them. For players like your spy, as they start trying to struggle to get through, as they're walking into your demo, that's a great time to go for picks, etc., etc. Basically, as they're walking through, your demo's spamming them, and the other players are trying to collapse on them. The more players that collapse on them, the better. If it becomes an exchange, if the other team is using, you're just going to kind of use on your pyro. Stuff back their Uber as much as you can, trying to keep as many people out of your Uber, meaning don't flash people as much as you can. If somebody's about to die, you can flash them, but try to avoid that because it makes your Uber shorter. Then once the Uber ends, then once again you're doing the same thing of trying to collapse on them. If you don't have Uber, say your med died on the mid fight and their team's med lived, but you won the mid fight anyway, this would be a time when you might want to hold passively behind the point. The reason you would do this is you're not really trying to hold the point, you're just trying to prevent a single player from capping it. So what this hold would look like is you're just passively spamming people as they walk in, maybe charging stickies a little bit to try to hit them as they walk through the chokes. As they get in, you're going to offer just enough resistance that maybe they have to use before they walk in. If you don't do that, you can sack as you leave. Regardless, your med is going to be playing to leave main usually. Main is really good to leave through because once you leave, it's very hard to chase you through that tiny choke. The rest of your players, if they used, are trying to leave and trying to live. If they did not use, you can say, hey, everybody die for their med now. And you want to wait until the med's committed, but then all your players can just jump in, die for the med wherever they happen to be. The mid fight, but massively won the mid fight by a huge margin. Most of your players lived, the entire other team died. You can do something called a forward hold. It is an especially aggressive hold that you're not looking to commit to necessarily, but that you're looking to just buy some extra time, get a couple of extra picks. So the most straightforward one is you walk through Valley, you can just put your demo in main here, have your soldier or somebody on cliff, right? Just trap off main. You could also have your soldier scout on grass, that's fine. Get a couple of kills, and then you're just looking to leave once you get those couple of kills and they realize what's happening. That's the most straightforward kind of forward hold you can do. There's more involved ones where you can walk through main, walk your combo through main, make sure your sniper is with you on grass, and then you can control main and grass while your sniper is controlling them coming at a cliff, and you can put your soldier, somebody on cliff as well. You can also hop up onto cliff, bring your combo cliff, have your demo watch cliff door. You can have your heavy kind of watching main while your flank watches grass, and then your demo would rotate to whichever door they come out of. All of those forward holds are fine. The important thing is that you set up for one fast after you wipe them, and you don't overcommit to it. Once they start moving up to break through the forward hold, once you lose a player or two or take a bunch of damage, you want to just leave. Do not die for that forward hold.